Hello everyone, Phantoms Y here, and we are back with some more Aselia the Eternal. Last time we left off, we won our first battles, albeit with some hiccups, maybe a game over induced by a little bit of being mouse clicky happy, I guess? I don't know. I'll leave that decision up to you what to call it. So, let's get right back into it. It's been a little bit since I played this game. I've been pretty busy. So I'm not going to pretend to know I remember exactly where we left off, but yeah, I'm sure I'll get back into the groove quickly. Thanks for the meal. It's because your cooking is so delicious. Since my parents died, I've had to cook for myself a lot. From that experience, I can tell that Aselia is good. Even the way she clears the table is refined. It's not just your cooking. It's that time. It's study time for me. I need to learn this world's language. I've been quite adept at ordinary conversations, or become quite adept, but I'm still thrown off by complex phrases and difficult vocabulary. What happened to the perceptiveness I had back when I crossed swords with Aselia? Yeah, I understand. Tessa. I'm fine, I reply, while avoiding her gaze. Admittedly, it's a half-hearted reply. Her jade green eyes stare at me. Yes, I understand. Aselia seems older than me. Maybe that's why she fusses so much over me. Honestly, I've never been close to an older girl before, so I'm lost in my own misconceptions. I've always been around younger girls like Cowdy. Q Nereki is the milk of a creature similar to a goat. It's a bit milder than cow milk, and I'm quite fond of it. Basically, Aselia is talking about milk tea. Ah, thank you, Aselia. Carrying away the dishes, she returns to the kitchen. The window curtain shakes as a breeze blows in. I feel like the spring air isn't much different between this world and my own. I can hear the faint sounds of dishes being tidied up from the kitchen. In this house, the spirit's quarters, Aselia does all of the housework. Aselia, Orpha, and I are the only ones living here now. There's nobody else around. It's already been about a month since I came here. That mundane world where we used to live, just going to school and working day after day, those days felt like they would go on forever. They feel far, far away. The floor fills my view. There are plenty of marks on the floor. From that, it's obvious that this room has been used for some rough activities. That's what I think, as I lie sprawled out on the floor. Asteria's just kicked our ass. Apparently. I've been hit by a hard side sweep of her sword. Aselia looks down at me calmly as I writhe on the floor, unable to breathe. Even though I asked to accompany her for training, I ended up just taking a magnificent beating. I'm dripping in sweat and covered with bruises and cuts. Aselia, on the other hand, is unhurt and hasn't so much as broken a sweat.
Yuto, last mame house.
No, I'm fine. I think.
Costa.
Aselia is extremely vigorous, but her stance is loose. She suddenly concentrates her strength in an instant. I have no idea when she's about to pounce. It feels like confronting some sort of wild animal. I wonder when I'll be able to fight. Sorry, Aselia. I don't think I can move anymore. Go back without me. She's asleep. Nodding, she really goes back without paying me any mind. Oh, that's fine. I look up at the ceiling. The cold floor feels good to my feverish body. Am I really getting stronger? To say nothing of Aselia, I'm currently getting beaten up by Asperia and Orpha as well. You got beat up by Orpha. So much that I even had one of my ribs broken by one of Asperia's leaping kicks. Asperia had to heal me with magic. Frankly, the difference in strength between them and me is so great that I can't even tell if I'm improving. Will I really be able to keep fighting? Huh? Suddenly, I feel someone staring at me. Who is it? Ignore it, or I'm curious. I hope this doesn't have any impact in, going after Aselia. I'm curious, though. I think I remember this part, actually, but I don't remember exactly if it has anything to do with Aselia's route, rather. I believe it would be Helion. Who is it? After realizing I'm being watched, I can't help but be curious. I slowly turn around. Yep, that's Helion. A girl cries out in a small voice. She has moderately long black hair, which is divided into twin tails. Judging from her clothes, she's a spirit. I try to call after her, but she runs off. She's pretty fast. Seems like I scared her off. She must have come here for training. I've never seen her, but it's not strange for a spirit I haven't met before to be here. They wouldn't suddenly reserve the whole place for me, after all. So that I won't be in the girl's way when she comes back, I move to the corner of the room. It's nice and cool here. It's the perfect temperature, not too damp and not too cold. I close my eyes and let the cool breeze run over my body. I think about sleeping for a while, but my body aches so much that it's difficult. It's the girl. Her manner of speaking, like her demeanor, is very timid. Oh, you came back already. She nervously extends a damp towel to me. It seems she went to go get this, if I can read. Should I use this? Thank you. I touch the towel to my body, and it stings. Today's bath is going to be hell. No matter where I touch, I'm assaulted with pain. But I'm refreshed to have wiped away my sweat. I'm revived. Even if you call them wounds, they're just scrapes from being knocked back, and light injuries from when I was hit. Yeah, it's only because I'm so weak that I'm like this. Thanks, Aselia. So you saw. And Aselia was even going easy on me. The girl inquires timidly. I'm covered in bruises, scratches, and red swelling. At first glance, I must look terrible. Actually, it's extremely painful, so much that I'm surprised myself. But I have to fight. I have to fight. Those words were halfway directed at myself. There are people who I have to fight to protect. Yes, my sister, and my comrades. Yeah. So, I have to hurry and learn to use this sword, so I can protect everyone. I don't want to get stronger to hurt people. I want to get stronger to be able to protect the people that I want to protect. Right now, I'm still weak, and I'm the only one being protected instead. But, someday, I'll return the favor. When I answer, the girl's eyes sparkle, and she nods vigorously. She's so mousy. I smile, and she smiles brightly back at me. She's a bit shy, but she's an honest, nice girl. Now then, I'll head back. Her expression clouds, and her voice sounds lonely. I'd like to stay and talk a little more, but if I don't get some rest, then tomorrow will be dreadful. It's a pity I have to go, but I'll come back tomorrow. Then, see ya. My body's aching has gotten a little better. It seems like I've managed to calm down. I leave the girl behind and exit the room. Now that I think about it, who was that girl? Maybe you should have asked her name. Just saying. Well, whatever. If we meet again, I won't forget to ask her. Yoto 3:30, Asok, 3rd Black Day, morning. We finished our morning training, and are now seated at the dining table. Come to think of it, Aselia and I were the only ones here when I first arrived. Now that Aselia and Orpha are here, it's gotten a lot livelier. Although the source of the liveliness is entirely Orpha, Aselia is as quiet as ever.
Aselia? Haru yami wa uruso sa, na so yuto kutonasis.
She briefly exchanges glances with me, then returns her gaze to the bowl in her hands.
Orpha, haru kinika hiken kai hamamoruto wa nail sin makita sin matuis. Lastioquis homesia quaequis. Last is ninokashu. Iwanis neman is ure kutamasek. Kuta aste senso yuto. Last ryunea nino.
Now that you ask, I'm not completely sure. I suppose Earth is the name of my planet. The name of my planet would also be the name of my world. Come to think of it, what is a world anyway? It seems more like an abstract concept than something concrete.
Last is...
Pretty sure most people would say your planet is a world, Yuto. You're trying to get a little too philosophical about this. Yeah. Earth is the planet I lived on. There were other celestial bodies like the Sun and Jupiter, but Earth is the only place where humans lived, so... Ah, crap. They're looking at me like they have no idea what I'm talking about. Even Aselia has stopped eating and is staring at me. Basically, the world where I lived is one of the planets in the sky, and this place is probably also a planet floating around in space, and, how should I put this? I hold my head. Now that I think about it, they probably don't even know what outer space is. I don't really know much about it myself either. There's no way I'll be able to easily explain something that I don't understand well myself. Up in the sky, there is a place called outer space where there are a bunch of worlds. It's possible that the world I come from is one of the planets up there. Their faces are really bewildered. Even Aselia is looking at me dubiously. Basically, each of the twinkling stars in the sky is a world like this one, and one of them might be the world I came from. I desperately tried to bring this to a conclusion. I can't say for sure in this world's case, but it probably is, I think. If things like alternate worlds exist, then my common sense may not apply at all.
Last sayut Hyperia.
Aselia suddenly joins the conversation, albeit with a low voice. Surprised, everyone turns towards her. She herself, however, has already resumed silently eating her dinner. I still don't understand this girl at all. But Hyperia? I remember hearing that word. Aselia has definitely muttered it before. What is Hyperia? I've heard about it several times.
Shikiro, Hyperia. Ismi hasin asute. Kinika uraksung. Sem une na eos. Sin aste sin homest. Ina haeto. Enna sin kerau nanayokan. Na ina mae. Aste. Nantem sin sarosi. Sin semina sem emon kimer. Wakank. Hatamuya sonona rena.
So it's like heaven? A place people are said to go when they die. Well, they have various names for it in my world too. Orpha has taken quite an interest. There weren't any spirits in my world. Although I guess it could just be that I never saw any. Disappointedly, she stabs her vegetables with her fork. The vegetables make a crisp sound. The Sword of Rebirth? The Sword of Rebirth? Is that another eternity sword? I still don't know anything about spirits. I suddenly look towards Aselia and find her listening more attentively than I would normally think possible. Somehow, it feels like even her facial expression is more vivid than usual. It seems like it anyway. Unfortunately, her changes in facial expression are infinitesimal. I'm not entirely sure how you say that word. Aselia, are you interested in Hyperia? She's unresponsive about everything else, but to Hyperia, meaning heaven, she responds. I feel like I've caught a glimpse of another side of Aselia, who usually acts only as an instrument of fighting. Maybe I should try reading some books with pictures of Hyperia in them. But it seems kind of weird not to have a name for this world.
You eat Rakios kinika. Phantasmagoria. Sen iska kaori. Ku is Phantasmagoria. Last yokusnino?
I feel like I've heard that word before. I mumble as I swallow what I was chewing. Ah, I remember. That was the name of the world in the book Cowdy was reading. Cowdy had taken quite a liking to those fantasy novels, and recommended them to me. It was one of those stories about swords, magic, and strange monsters. Monsters. I dismissed it as a generic video game story and ended up not reading it, but... Cowdy and Orpha seem to have given names to the two worlds. I feel kind of strange. I'm currently here in this world, yet I was in my original world in the past. The fact that those worlds exist is making me lose my sense of reality. But both Cowdy and I remember our original world. For some reason, that makes me really happy. It reminds me that our world really exists, and isn't just a dream. You're right. That'll be easier for me too, so let's call them that from now on. And that's pretty much exactly how it's going to go. Whenever from now on they're referring to Earth, they'll call it Hyperia. Over here in this world with the spirits and all that, it's going to be Phantasmagoria. Asperia hastily admonishes admonishes Orpha, who is holding both hands in the air in delight. Yeah, they're like sisters, no matter how you look at it. Orpha, can you really make Cowdy that easily?
Alu, Scurisio, Masekunam, Tesak, Waensuna, Kinika Usua. Arwa, it uneteri hamon, Miha Kinikala, same Kaori.
I see. Thanks, Orpha. I'm a little relieved. It seems that Cowdy is not being treated with cruelty for the time being. That purple-eyed princess might be kinder than the king. Even so, Cowdy's life is in the palm of their hands. Cowdy's life, and mine too.
Sakura, na kirha sin Hyperia. Is hades na utusin hakituis.
Before Asperia even finishes speaking, Aselia rises from her seat.
Sure. Last is Teneamonel. Your Kasam Susanishe.
Aselia nods in response to Asperia's question. She was silently eating while we were talking, after all. Whenever we weren't talking about Hyperia, she concentrated on eating. There's no way we could match her pace. I watch as Aselia returns to her room.
Iru Aselia, itururet terihamua. Na, teha.
Eh? What? I ask incredulously. I can't believe I'm hearing them say that Aselia looks happy.
Na, Sunyahaki ne. Yaso yuto. Costa ni note. Ruid kankerula papa.
Orpha speaks earnestly. What does kankeru mean?
Kans uraxing flower. Ku is smuxus eggs, so yuto. Sam! Orpha na kaori. Na Lulu Aselia. Lulu Esperia. Nini? Last is Kinika-san Kaminola. Yoteto. Hai une kuyama este samura so yuto. Na nista na haminets hogamu fusira.
Oh yeah, big dog Yuto.
Testa. Ku is habesus. Na so yuto se sin Kinika wa kostamiha.
Asperia's panic is strangely cute, so much that that even I feel embarrassed. This sort of thing really isn't my forte. So I change the subject. Aselia mostly ignores me, though. I can't think of anything she's done to indicate that she's happy with me.
Stan. Ku is una self uzoska. Rezos.
Is that so?
Sam.
Even if they say so, I can't accept it. Will I ever be able to understand her? I'm not counting on it. Ellipses. Okay, we got Yoto 330, renew 4th Black Day. I hear the floor creak slightly. I look towards the door, and Aselia is standing there, staring at me quietly. Glancing at me, she starts walking towards the kitchen. As always, I have no idea what she's thinking. She soon comes back. She's carrying 2 wooden cups. She offers one of them to me. It seems she wants me to drink. Thank you. The water here is delicious. The 2 of us drink the water in the quiet room. The conversation isn't advancing. I have to talk about something. Aselia, I'm sorry. Useful. I was just holding you back, right? To tell you the truth, even if it's pathetic, I was scared. When the spirits invaded, I was really scared to use Desire's power. I still remember how my body wouldn't listen to me, and my mind was blotted out by fear. Knowing that fighting could trigger his resurfacing, I get so afraid that I couldn't fight anymore. I just hid behind Asperia's protection and left everything to you and Orpha. All I did was hold you back. Ah, I'm sorry. Her facial expression makes it seem like she really doesn't think about anything, but I feel she's helped me out. I'll try even harder tomorrow. Thank you, Aselia. My conversation with Aselia is as brief as usual. She just honestly speaks what she's thinking, after all. The moment I think such, suddenly, a high-pitched sound rings through my head. It's ringing again. It's Desire's voice, from when I first came to this world. Desire's will is covering my mind. Damn it! I can't let him do as he pleases. Damn it. Ugh. Seeing me suddenly start to shake, Aselia speaks earnestly. Black thoughts are pressuring my mind. I feel like I'm losing consciousness. But if I yield to this, then... Damn it! Stop! Get out of my head! Aselia starts to leave, but I'm afraid of being alone, so I grab her delicate body. My will gradually begins to overlap with the voice ringing through my head. Mana. To quench this thirst, I need mana. Aselia, I need mana. Aselia, I'm thirsty. It hurts. I'm thirsty. I start gripping her arms with more strength. Even the sight of Aselia flinching in pain looks extremely delicious to me. If I pierce her white skin and take her mana, I can regain my power. The power to destroy Oath. She doesn't resist. Looking at her just increases my lust. Desire's voice is yelling at me to take her mana. I don't even know whether these are my thoughts or Desire's anymore. That doesn't even matter anymore. I just need to take mana from the spirit in front of me. That's all. I'm being swept away by lust. What? Don't disturb me. I need to steal mana from the spirit. From Aselia. My own heart. There's no way I could do something so cruel to Aselia. Damn it! I won't lose. The extreme headache makes my mind hazy. I fall to my knees and desperately try to endure it. This is the same pain I felt in the other world. Oh, Desire's voice must have caused that as well. He's hungering, starving for Aselia. There's no way I'll let him take over my mind. Get out! Get out of my head! I desperately try to keep myself from being swept away by lust. A tightening pain runs through my whole body, but it's clear to me that if I give in once, then I'll never be able to stop. No, I can't take it. Even though I'm grabbing her so strongly, Aselia doesn't bat an eyebrow. She just inquires quietly. My mind is my own. I concentrate as hard as I can. When I do, Aselia's expression wavers slightly. With a voice that's very loud for her, she skillfully draws existence with one hand and holds the mirror-like surface of the blade in front of me. What's she doing? An ominous azure light flows from the sword at my waist. It flickers, as though it's trying to engulf my whole body. Is this Desire's power? I'm taken aback. In the same moment, Aselia deploys her halo. A ring of light, the same color as her eyes, covers my field of vision. The instant I reflexively close my eyes, something blows through my body. Huh? The pain is disappearing?
Yes, this her.
Aselia stands back as though nothing has happened, and looks down at me as I silently am crouched on the floor. Thank you. I managed to somehow get through it this time, but I shiver. Desire was really trying to overwhelm me. This was on a different level than the time after my first battle. Both the sword's voice and the pain were incomparably tense.
Aselia, hi.
Seeing that I'm alright, Aselia turns away and starts to leave. Wait! Don't tell Aselia about my sword. She nods honestly, then leaves the room. It's dubious whether she understood or not, but if she speaks with her usual brevity, then the part about my sword shouldn't be found out. I give out to my languidness and lay on my side, waiting for Aselia. Would it be given? I don't know. Maybe give out is another expression. I sense someone coming closer with hasty footsteps. I must have worried her. Now that I think of it, Aselia wouldn't have bothered giving any explanation beyond Yuto collapsed.
So Yuto, that is this her.
Yeah. I've done so much training that my body's exhausted. Desire was meddling with me again. I try my best to hide what she already knows. I'm scared that Aselia and Orpha will distance themselves from me. I know that Desire will aim to steal mana, not just from Aselia, but from Aselia and Orpha too. Even so, I don't want to lose their kindness. I'm sorry, Aselia. I'm telling such a lie. I can't say it aloud, but I apologize frantically in my mind. She looks at me worriedly, but a little doubtfully.
Aselia.
She looks towards Aselia, who is standing next to her nonchalantly, unsure how to answer. But in the end, she makes no response to Aselia's question. Perhaps this is Aselia's way of trying to help me. Aselia is truly worried about me. My guilt is unbearable. The voice of my sword? Has Aselia already realized? I'm too scared to confirm it. Thank you. Right now, that's the only answer that I can make.
So Yuto, Sonizska school. Last Nisres, Ramiha Yaminie. Yep.
She suddenly cuts right to the topic, in the middle of the meal. Huh? I'm fine. It's more of a problem that I can't use my sword's power. I lie. My sword has been speaking to me ever since then. You desire power. I desire mana. Those words repeat over and over. This is already close to torture. It's possible that my inability to use my sword's power is all because of my resisting that voice.
Yes. Papa, last is your nose?
No, I'm not sick. I just haven't slept well. Saying this much makes me uneasy, and I suddenly look towards Aselia. She's just disinterestedly sipping her tea, though. I really have no idea what she's thinking. Our eyes meet, but there's no way to tell whether I was able to convey my thoughts or not. No, he just wants to make things difficult for me, so he's causing me headaches. It's a bit tough, but I'm fine. I rush ahead with my answer, since the conversation seems like it won't end if I don't. I don't want them to know that I was thinking such things about them.
だってレストルイス船ってさ
Her expression is clouded. Aselia is smart, so she may have realized that I'm trying to deceive her. I unconsciously avert my eyes from her and meet eyes with Orpha, who's peering at me.
パパラストイスですは
I'm fine. You're all such warriors. Come on, if we don't eat quickly, we'll be late to training. I stop speaking and concentrate on eating. It's definitely tough, but I don't want to be questioned anymore. My mind and body are exhausted, and I lie down on my hard bed. My ringing headache won't stop. Desire's voice keeps pressuring me intensely. I've managed to suppress it until now, but I don't know how long I can last. I'm scared that I'll lose myself. I wrap myself in the blankets and desperately try to endure. The audience chamber. I was summoned for an unusually important strategy briefing. The soldier who came in to inform me said that it was urgent, but I'm not interested. Thinking of Cowdy, however, I can't skip out. Unfortunately, I have no choice but to go. Come to think of it, war is nearing. I remember Aselia said as much. Our opponent is the country bordering on Rakios, Barnlight. It seems that small skirmishes have been going on for a long time. But in the end, the ones who will be fighting are us. The Et Ranger and the Spirits. There are only a few of us who will stand out on the front lines. Since both nations have exhausted their resources, wars in this world are about destroying the enemy spirits to create peace. I suppose that since no harm will come to humans, they have no reason to hesitate. I can't help but laughing cynically to myself. The spirits and I aren't human. At the very least, we're not treated as such. I don't have much of a choice, though. To protect Cowdy, I can't help but use this sword to fight. The people of this world are wholly concerned with their own survival, even if it means sacrificing the spirits and me. I have to have determination. Muttering to myself, I quicken my pace towards the audience chamber. I hear whispering as I approach the throne. I'm being stared at curiously, as though I'm in an exhibition. I turn away, like I'm averting my eyes from something filthy. Have Aselia and the others always had to endure this? Just kneeling in front of the king is almost unbearable for me. Aselia, Orpha, and Aselia are beside me, with important Rakios officials lined up at a distance. The king of Rakios is sitting on his throne and speaks to me in a low voice while stroking his white beard. His voice irritates me even more. I can tell even from here that there's a commotion among those surrounding me. Some of the old men, who seem high in stature, even turn towards the king in protest. Is the dragon that dreadful? The king's words are quiet, but are overflowing with a cold, quiet oppressiveness, signaling that objections will not be permitted. After this, nobody speaks any longer. I raise my head and see the princess standing beside the king. For a moment, she looks at the king with a face somewhere between scorn and pity. or so it seems. What was that?
西とシセミナデアミニュクミネスンネイトリテサンとセンマナヒケテムハイムーネブラクナスローやマナテスレニンセテヤカワシセミナ
Which is clearly the real motivation behind this. It has nothing to do with, you know, him being a guardian or not. They just want the mana that the dragon will unleash so they can empower their spirits. So they can go to war with Barnlight, have the advantage, and win.
ネウエーテルアナンテレスクオメストヤムネトツナラゾスカアブユノゾスン
Smirking, the king of Rakios turns his gaze to me. With my head slightly raised, I meet eyes with the king. He slowly points at me.
クムイットウネムスルレナコスカタラ
Oh! With just that, the uneasy expressions of the surrounding people dissolve into relief. The moment they hear that they don't have to do anything themselves, they act like this. Anger is slowly welling up in my heart. They're fitting subjects for a king like this.
クラムスルレナラストイクハルエミニネトツナ
A twisted smile. His grin somehow reminds me of Shun. It's the expression of someone who stands in a superior position and looks down on everyone. He's got some nerve to ask me that when he's using Cowdy as a hostage to force me to obey. I'm taken by the impulse to strike him down right now. At this distance, even with this headache, in one strike. Something pulls at the hem of my clothes. Aselia is holding me back from behind. I remember what she warned me before. Before we came here. Warned me about is what I would expect, but
إسته حالك كمسكرس والسنة مسحة إنم أركزك وتسكنها
Yuto does seem to have anger issues.
إسشكر تيورسنا مي تارم سيسو كاوري مي تارم سيسو يوتو
Aselia understands well. I've been subjected to so many cruel things that she realized I might explode in anger over an unreasonable order. That's right. Now isn't the time to let my emotions get the best of me. I need to save Cowdy. Thank you, Aselia. I thank her silently in my mind and face the king again. Aselia releases her hand from my hem, relieved. The king smirks, but I answer without scowling. I will faithfully execute your orders, King of Rakios. We will use all of our strength to defeat the dragon of Rakios and return his mana to Rakios. I bring my hand to my chest and speak clearly. Acknowledging me, the king nods generously. But I saw it. For only an instant, the king opened his eyes, and his face betrayed a hint of fear of me. Just that makes me feel a little refreshed. It seems he's not a man of such high caliber after all. It's also true that I've gone too far to come back. If it's come to this, then I'll fight like my life depends on it.
No. Yukini kawamas. Itu musurulena. Himine yamasek homestoyam koskamis. Susahaosem. Letlanalen. Aru.
Yes.
Tesrayanemak raisem yosumusun. Ituriz deikuharu emrokurahenis. Seinderasmo.
Yes, understood. I bow deeply. Fine, I'll bow as much as you want. If I can save Cowdy, I'll endure anything. Once again, I raise my head and speak in a loud voice. I swear by my sword, Desire, I will execute your orders and defeat the dragon. Those circled around the king stir.
Na. Yamini wa hasankuwa wa esmusaris. Yuram harusa shino.
Yes. The moment I stand up. Yes. Princess Lestina, who's kept silent the whole time, speaks to me. Caught off guard, I respond less formally, but the princess doesn't take any particular notice. She continues. I'm necessary. I can see Cowdy's shadow behind those words. I become a little calmer. I'm prepared to die if it's for Cowdy's sake, but that might be a mistake. For her sake, I need to return alive. If she loses her value as a hostage, then she'll be... Yes, Your Highness. Thank you very much. I will definitely return. Yes. I bow, then turn and walk away from the throne. Espiri and the others follow after me. Funny that he's out front since, like, everyone can kick his ass right now, right? But, you know, I'll do it. Whether it's slaying a dragon or anything else. I harden my resolve and walk away, step after step. I have no more hesitation. Alright. And that is where we are going to call this episode. And if you're watching on stream, I'm going to take a quick break, so stick around. Those of you watching on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode. And I will see you all next time.